So this is part two to what if Callum had the Omni? What if Callum was Kryptonian? Now, guys, this was requested a couple months ago, maybe like a couple weeks ago, probably. But basically, this is a what if continuation that I wanted to do for a long time. Now, after this video, I will be uploading what if Invincible was in Young Justice. And guys, don't worry, I'm not gonna be canceling any of my Callum what ifs, not the Omnitrix what ifs. And I'm just gonna stop uploading those for a few, for a few weeks. And basically, I'm gonna be continuing this. Now, basically, Callum will upgrade and he'll get his own like type of Kryptonian suit. But by the time pretty much Callum and the crew get towards the ice area or the mountains, that's where Callum would find the Kryptonian base and the pretty much the what was it, his Fortress of Solitude or whatever. So basically, at this point, Callum would not know not much at all about his, origins. Just thinking that he's some sort of, magic user of some sorts. Basically, we continue with Callum and going asleep as Rayla is basically tweaking with her little, what was it, wristband or binding, trying to get it off and trying to peel it off, bite it off, and all this other stuff. Now, basically, Callum is, still asleep, and he hears Rayla before, Rayla stops talking. Rayla sighs in, like, what was it, disbelief, or basically just anger. And Callum, contemplates on waking up and trying to ask Rayla what's wrong, but he just goes back to sleep, not really wanting to get her angry. Now we switch back to the castle or the kingdom, where basically, what was it? Basically, they're just, having a funeral for the king very, well, quickly. And one of the mages say a funeral so soon is madness. Now, they just go on with it, and basically, but we switch back to the 8 team, the trio, basically, Callum looking into the storm, pretty much orb. Now, basically, he puts it down and pretty much looks at his hands, him trying to remember how he got these abilities and what is he really. Now, he remembers markings of magic, and he also remembers some strange symbols at his family cabin. Basically, his parents telling him to go there and to seek them out when he becomes old enough and he becomes, well, very curious about where he really came from. Now, that was a suppressed memory Callum had that Callum never really thought about because he just thought his parents were being weird. But now Callum is confused as ever and he doesn't really know exactly what he can or can't be. So Callum pretty much makes the whole entire same suggestion to go to his family cabin to basically go there and to find some, magical relics or magic, pretty much stones or whatever. And basically, those magic stones will basically, determine and also give Callum enough, leverage to try to find that relic his parents gave him or his parents had for him when he, left. Or they just kept away from him, telling him to go there when he becomes old enough. Now, basically, Callum and Rayla have the same type of conversation, and they make a plan to go to the, cabin. They go to the cabin, and basically, Callum is pretty much they're going, and eventually, they're, like, kind of hungry near way the path, and basically, Rayla offers them, some juice. Now, basically, Callum thinks it's human blood, and basically says, we don't drink that. Sorry. Yeah, basically, her saying it's not blood, idiot. Basically, Israel drinking it, saying it's moonberry juice or some sort of juice. It's pretty tasty. Basically, Callum saying, I didn't mean to, offend you or anything. Basically, him trying to, get close with her. Now, at this point, Callum was about ready to go inside, but Rayla says, I'll go first. You know nothing about stealth. Now, she goes first into the cabin, and visually, Rayla, Callum tells Israel to hide the egg because, it seems like some guards have shown up at the cabin. Now they try to stop them, but pretty much the head of the guards is their aunt. So basically, she hugs both of them, and says, "I've been waiting. I've been so worried about you guys." Now, basically, they said pretty much the castle sent them here to try to look for you guys, and basically they go around the castle. Now Callum, Callum gets told about like a whole entire message his father sent his aunt and all other stuff. Now Callum starts to conversate with Israel, telling him not to tell them anything about Rayla, the egg, or our mission. Now, basically, we switch out to Rayla trying to get into the area, and he does find, or eventually get the whole entire, pretty much magical relic. But she sees another thing, or right next to the magical relic that's covered by a tarp. She pulls the tarp, and she sees some weird, type of contraption, like a ship of some sorts. And this ship looks like a type of baby capsule, and it's diagonal, and it's red and blue. So basically, Ray looks closer at it and eventually sees that it's some sort of different worldly thing. Now, she doesn't think it's alien or anything like that, but as Rayla's looking at this artifact or some sort of, you know, contraption of some sorts, basically she looks behind herself, seeing that, well, the guard or the boy's aunt basically starts to, well, fight them. They start to fight and they start to go back and forth. Now, basically, Rayla is moving around and up and down and eventually lands right next to the contraption. She pulls some sort of, well, crystal of some sorts or some sort of metal thing that resembles a key card, but this is medieval times, so they don't know what a key card is. Basically pulling it out, and this artifact she would pull out of the ship, and this would be, the ship that would, transfer Callum to Earth. Basically, this ship having the key to unlocking the Fortress of Solitude. Now, basically, she picks it up, puts it in her pocket, alongside grabbing the whole entire, a whole entire magical, like, thing that Callum told them to get. Basically, Callum was looking around, and eventually Callum started to look around closer and closer. Now, Callum was focusing as hard as he can, trying to focus his x-ray vision and looking around. And then he figures out that Rayla is fighting his aunt. He tries to stop it, but pretty much Israel tells him to stop and not to go, in any farther. Now, basically, Callum stops and looks closer and closer into the battle. But as Callum's looking in the battle, he basically just leaves, and the princes leave. They disappear. They vanish. Now, basically, as the aunt is about to just straight up slay Rayla. Rayla is spared because, well, she needs to get answers because her general walked in telling her, about how the, pretty much princess vanished. Now, basically, she's captured. They try to ask questions. Now, basically, she tells them, ask him questions of Rayla, asking if you're alone. She's saying no, being obviously, saying yes. But basically, the, aunt says, I'm not buying it, or she pretty much says, you're a liar. Now, she doesn't say it because she's like, oh, is it she can't speak, she's mute or something? So basically, she just leaves, telling the guards to keep a close eye on her and to stay around the premises. And if there are more of the blood moon elves, we need to keep a strong eye on the princes and try to find them. Now Callum tries to make a big plan. Basically, him seeing through the plan, trying to find out some sort of other pretty much thing. But Israel says we can't really use her powers right now because, well, we don't want to make a big scene and we don't want to, seem like enemies. So basically, Callum says whatever. Basically, him trying to find another way to do this quietly, but not actually show his powers off, widely. But Callum looks around more and more and eventually looks closer, trying to use his x-ray vision through the walls with the bricks, seeing that the bricks are somewhat, for some reason, covered by lead. But basically, Callum stops and pretty much is confused on how he can't see through the walls. He puts his hand on one of the walls as they're lowering down bait and basically sniffs it, saying this is lead. Pretty much looking at his hand, trying to look through his hand, seeing that he can't because it's lead on it. Callum wipes the lead on his clothing, saying that I can't see through lead. Basically, Israel saying, what did he say? What did you say? Callum brushing it off and saying, let's just go with the plan. Now, they send down Bait, and Bait makes the distraction, pretty much while flashing the guards, and they start running around being very blind. Now, they start trying to attack Rayla using their strength against them, making one of them cut through her ropes. Now she makes him cut through her ropes, and she grabs her blades back and basically walk upstairs, seeing Callum and Israel, welcome her. They're basically saying, we gotta get out of here now. They start sprinting out of the door, trying to get out, and now basically they start to, fight. Try to basically, they start to basically try to negotiate with Grin. And I think Grin is their aunt's name. Ain't really for sure, because I didn't write her name down, because I don't think she's an important character in the story. So basically, Callum says that, Rayla's a monster and she'll kill us and drink our blood if you don't let us go. Basically, Grin's saying that I've slayed monsters before, Callum. It's okay. Come here now. Basically, Callum looking around trying to find an exit. But him seeing no other choice, him grabbing Rayla, Israel, and straight up just booking it, jumping as hard as he can into the sky. As Rayla is basically, jumped off, one of the arrows hit Rayla in her pink tail, and her pink tail falls onto the ground and is basically poached onto the, pretty much, the wood or the tree that it was originally, shot on. Meaning that eventually, somebody else will find it. Now, basically, they run off, and basically, Bait is incredibly scared because everybody's pretty incredibly scared. Rayla's saying, how high are we? Now, Callum is slightly flying, or mainly just gliding, and eventually he starts to fall into the ground. Now, Rayla says to do it again, basically not trying to fall onto their deaths, but Callum just falling into somewhere in the woods, and basically them landing near a boat. Now, this boat would be a couple of feet away from the original boat, basically them grabbing a boat and dragging it back into the river that they originally, swam onto. Now, they pretty much paddle away from the boat, and basically they start, going around. Now, Grin, or their aunt, is super confused on what just happened, saying, what did Callum just do? Now, basically, they start to... Callum says that was a great plan, basically looking around, seeing how we're far away from, all the guards. Now, basically, they're going down the same river that originally they took, and basically, Rayla says, I can't believe you're just a jerk, basically her saying, why did you say I was a bloodthirsty monster, and all that other stuff. Callum saying it was the only choice to make them try to let us go. And basically, Rayla says it was no point in it. Basically, Rayla being angry, saying, take your stupid things, and basically throwing the middle shard that was in Callum's capsule, or pretty much ship that was sent in here, and throwing some sort of cube, the magic cube that originally Callum grabbed. Now he looks at it and mainly looks at the pretty much chip more than the block. Now we switch back to the castle, and basically the evil guy, or pretty much what was it? I think it was the evil warlock, or the evil mage, that was the right-hand man of the king. Basically, he's about to be crowned, but Grin shows up and explains to them that basically that the princes aren't dead. And, the evil mage is kind of angry by this. But basically, they switch to, pretty much, side capsules, and we can switch on to episode 4. Now, basically, episode 5. And we start off at the kingdom, and basically, being shown the true colors of, well, the dark mage. Now basically we can switch back to basically Callum examining the cube, but also the middle shard of alien technology that he has in his hand. Him looking at it closer and closer, seeing some sort of symbol on it. Now he looks closer onto the symbol and basically is confused. Pretty much feeling like the symbol means something and it's a part of him. But him not really knowing what it is. Now he walks up to basically, Rayla and, tries the whole entire, cube thing on her. Now basically she says we wasted our lives for a magic toy. Now basically Cal's saying, yeah, but it's a useful magical toy. Now basically Rayla saying whatever. Basically her looking and pretty much them being kind of hungry. Now Israel says that we have food. Basically him taking out that really like piece of concrete bagel they found at the cabin. Basically Rayla swinging it around, saying this is literally like a club. Her dropping it on a rock and the rock cracking. So they ain't eating that. So basically we can switch back to the castle, and the castle whole entire thing happens all the same. Now we get switched back to a cliffside with Rayla trying to cut off her binding. Now she hears screaming and basically she runs up and she sees pretty much Callum messing with his powers and also the lightning spear at the same time. Him shooting electrified lightning beams at his hand. Electrified laser beams at his eyes. Now basically he starts to cut trees down, making a couple of forest fires. Basically Callum making a plan and straight up just not even telling anybody, saying grab it. Now basically Rayla says what the, and basically, well, Callum straight up chucks it right in her hand, super strength style, making her fly into a tree. Now basically Callum closes his eyes and electric vision stops. Now basically Rayla is shown with, fried up hair and basically a scorched face, and pretty much Callum, his eyes being a little bit dry, but him wiping his eyes and making them tear up and him being back in shape. Now basically Rayla says he can't go on the boat, blah blah blah, and basically we eventually get to, notice that Rayla is kind of scared of water. Now we get switched back to the palace, and the palace happens all the same. We get switched all the way back toward, now basically Grim doesn't tell the pretty much the Dark Mage about how Callum showed incredible strength and all that other stuff. Basically, us being switched back to the, pretty much, the trio, basically, them talking about bait and how bait is a type of animal that is, bait is a sharing type of fishes. And basically, Israel being kind of angry and saying he can hear you, Basically, we get switched back to the castle again, and we just switch back to the trio. And the castle thing, all the castle scenes go exactly the same. Just watch episode 5 for yourself. Now basically, we can switch back to the A team, the trio, the literal goats. And basically, we, talk about boats and all sorts of other stuff, and about Rayla's parents trying to, make some small conversation. Now, basically, they're done with questions. Basically, Rayla saying to pull over now. Basically, them going towards, going towards a waterfall. Now, Callum tries to pull it over, but saying that we can't really pull it over. Basically, him shooting his laser vision towards the water, trying to push them backwards. But seeing that he just blasting through the water, not really getting any friction. Basically, Callum said it's too late. Basically, Rayla, before that, saying that she is totally scared of water. Now, Callum grabs Rayla and pushes her back, saying it's too late and to hang on. Him basically using his super strength to try to, shield both of them, or try to lock both of them into the ship, so they can't fall down in the water. They fall into the water, down into the waterfall, and basically we get switched back to the kingdom. Now we get switched all the way back through a whole entire segment of them talk about the king at the castle. Now it's being switched back to the trio. Now Callum and everybody else, they're kind of separated basically. Them seeing that bait is in the water. Now, eventually, they get to the boat, and basically, Israel's saying, I'm just so worried about you. And basically, kind of looking at the, well, orb, or the, not the orb, looking at the box, the magical box that shows the symbols of magical items or beings nearby. And basically, sees the water logo is shining bright. Him saying, why is it shining? And basically, a huge, ginormous water beast blast up by underneath them. They get separated, and basically Raylo lands on top of the grass area, or on just land, and basically looks around and tries to save them. No, she succeeds somewhat, and basically grabs bait, and basically, basically, Callum using some of his power to try to make some sort of lightning spear. So basically, he uses the same type of technique, using the orb to basically electrify his laser vision to take down the fish, basically shocking it so far, shocking a whole entire electrified hole right through his chest. Now, basically, we get switched back to the castle or the kingdom, and basically they start talking the same type of way. Now, basically, we can switch back to, the trio. Basically, Rayla telling Rayla. Now, Callum gets up and saying that was very brave of you, And that Callum and, Israel get back on land. Basically, Callum telling Rayla that you're very brave, Rayla. Basically, Rayla saying, and basically, her saying, you know that I'm already scared of water. Now, basically, Callum says, I know. That's why doing what you did was so, heroic. So basically, Callum says, pretty much, what was it? No, Rayla saying thanks because what Callum said. Basically, Israel saying, it's okay. Why did you not tell us about your, fear at the beginning? You could being afraid of something isn't really, that big of a deal. And basically, Rayla tells them about the whole entire story of her family and her being an elf and all that other stuff about how you're not supposed to show fear. And basically, they see the boat fly or float back towards them. Basically, Callum pushing it away from them, trying to not make Rayla go through the same type of pretty much fear that she hates the water. Basically, saying that we can just go on foot now. And basically, Rayla being kind of happy by this, smiling, and basically Callum and her smiling at each other. Now we can switch back to the kingdom or the castle, and basically they are shown interrogating the elf. Now at this point, I normally just fit in 2 episodes in each video, but just for this sake, I'm just gonna be doing a 3rd episode because I gotta try to get to that that kryptonian Fortress of Solitude point. So we open up the next day, episode 6, basically getting shown that Rayla's wrists have swollen up since last time you've seen it, seeing that the binding is becoming tighter and tighter. Now basically, Rayla, tries to get the binding off of her, and basically, her step running into the pretty much hired hunter or assassin that was sent to get her and also to save the boys. That was sent there near the ending where, Rayla or Rim, or their, basically the boys' aunts, saw, Callum jump up in the air. Now, she didn't tell any of the, the mercenary or very much the hunter about the whole side, how Callum has spirit powers, but just saying not to underestimate Callum, Prince Callum. Now, basically, we get switched off from there, and basically, Rayla is trying to reason with the pretty much hunter, but basically them going back and forth, and her eventually getting or winning against the hunter. Now, basically, Callum is looking for, Rayla, and basically Rayla shows up, and they leave without the bagels or without the food. Now, basically, we switch back to the castle, and basically, the evil mage tells his son, the knight, to basically return with the terrible news that the princes have died or perished. Basically, us getting told the whole entire thing, and us skip basically the whole entire. I was gonna be skipping all of the castle scenes because none of them really change that really because of Callum. So I'm just gonna be skipping all those and just be going through the whole entire trio, thing of Callum's, missions. Basically, they're traveling up the mountain, and basically they're coming up the mountain, and basically Rayla stops them, saying that this path is too, easy. It's flat, it's warm, it's nice. It can't, this isn't right. And sooner or later we're gonna run into somebody. We should go down the slippery slope, the higher ground, the harder path. Basically, Callum was saying, really? Basically, for saying yes, and you can handle it. Aren't you some sort of superpowered guy? Now, basically, Callum saying, whatever, and basically them getting ready. Basically, Israel says that, I don't want to go up that area because you know how heavy this egg is? Basically, Rayla saying, I don't because you guys don't trust me to, handle it. Basically, well, Callum saying, wow, should we trust you? Why should we trust you? Have you told us the truth about everything? Basically, him trying to, reason why he isn't gonna let her have the egg. Basically, him not letting her grab the egg until she, tells them the truth. Now, basically, they go up the high mountain way alongside Rayla. Now, basically, they're going up the mountain and they're starting to get hungry. Basically, Callum at this point not really getting that hungry, since Kryptonians could technically just feed off of sunlight and stuff like that on, a yellow sun. Basically, she only had one job to carry the, stale human fruit. Now, basically, her grabbing her fruit. Now, basically, they start arguing about how, Rayla's not having moonberry juice because one of you guys went through my stuff. Now, basically, her about to accuse Bait because Bait is glowing a certain way and it doesn't look, normal. And he probably drank something he wasn't supposed to drink. Now, basically, Callum says it's okay. Basically, him looking through pretty much Bait, seeing that it's something liquid in his stomach, saying that it's red. Him just thinking it's blood, but him smelling it with super senses, and eventually just coming to the conclusion that he did get through the water. He did go through, regular stuff. Basically, him clarifying that he did go through her stuff. Basically, minutes after that, him burping up, the smell of the moonberry juice. And basically, these are arguing, but basically, Ray is saying let's go back on the path now. Now, they go back on the path. Now, basically, they just start going up the snowy part of the route. Basically, Rayla saying, not saying really anything. Basically, Callum and Israel and Bates saying, or Callum and Israel saying, you're the one that made us take this crazy route. At least let us keep up with you. Basically, her starting to argue with them. Basically, Callum gets next to her. Basically, her saying, it is a solution. You could just let me grab or hold the egg. Basically, her saying, you do realize I could just take it from you. I could just take it from you anytime I wanted it. Basically, Callum saying you could try. His eyes glowing red. Basically, Callum saying if you really wanted to get it, you would have done it a long time ago. But you're too scared because you know for a fact that I could kill you. Basically, Callum being very confused on how or why he got so angry. But him stepping back saying, I'm sorry. Basically, Rayla being kind of scared by this, seeing, how strong Callum has been shown to be. Basically, her saying whatever. Basically, their relationship being pushed farther, but eventually, they are going to be together. But basically, they switch off, and basically, they start to, argue, and eventually the ice starts to break or crack since one of them yelled. They start to argue, but basically, Ezreal tells them to stop arguing, and the ice is going to shatter and break down and cause, avalanche. Basically, them quieting down, but, well, Bait burping, and, well, the ice, that noise is enough to break the ice, and a whole entire avalanche starts. They start to run down the ice left and right, and eventually they're cornered off the cliff, basically them getting hit with a huge amount of pretty much ice, or the avalanche. Callum tries to push it back with some of his pretty much super breath, and pretty much tries to push it back farther and farther and farther. Eventually, it just overcoming Callum and them getting pushed down, and eventually getting near the icy area, or the ice area of pretty much the iced up water, basically that's falling down to the ground. Now Callum and them fall on top of a seemingly hollow ice, pretty much river, but it not being a river at all. Him looking around, and basically them being confused. Now basically they're pretty much going back and forth, and basically when they get on the ice, all of them start to fall down to the ice, and the ice cracks. Basically, the metal shard in Callum's hands starting to glow, and it falls down. The whole entire ice just breaks down and reconstructs itself back up when they fall through the ice, seeming like nothing happened. They fall down into the ice area, and they fall on top of some sort of ice construct, and they look around, seeing that it's a huge, ginormous ice trader, just an ice tower right in front of them. Now Callum looks closer, and he sees that it's a kryptonian symbol, or a symbol, the same symbol that was on, his family relic, or his pretty much item he had in his hand, right towards pretty much the entrance of the area. He walks towards it, very intrigued, but basically Rayla's saying, "What are you doing?" Now basically Callum's saying, "This is the same symbol on the chart. My family told me to go towards this symbol when I get, a certain age in my life." Basically, Callum goes into it, and it asks for his name. Basically, it's getting Callum's DNA saying, "Hello, Kal, son of Krypton, the last son of the L house." Basically, Callum being introduced into it. Now, Callum walks into the, pretty much walks into the castle, and basically the egg, Rayla is looking for the egg, basically seeing that the egg falls into some ice, or into the water, or falls in some water of the ice, basically looking at it closer, seeing that it was, it's losing color. Now basically Callum grabs it, and saying let's go inside, it might be some, pretty much heat or something here. He looks around, and he sees technology upon technology, items upon items, and one of the Kryptonian robots fly out towards Callum, saying hello, and looks behind him, saying intruders. Basically, it pretty much going into its robot mode. Callum says these aren't intruders, these are my friends. Basically, the robot is standing down, saying okay, and basically it introduces Callum to the pretty much hall, or the Fortress of Solitude. It's showing a hologram and a whole entire backstory of Krypton. Now basically Rayla and Israel watching this, basically, and the robot explaining aliens, and also explaining basically, explaining aliens, Kryptonians, and the effects of what a yellow sun can do to a Kryptonian, and what you are. Basically him being shown Krypton, all its laws and facts, and about his parents, and why they sent him to Earth to be the last son of Krypton. Now eventually Callum understands everything at this point. And it's been a couple of minutes, about like 30 or 40 minutes of him being explained about all of this Kryptonian knowledge and everything. Now basically Callum looks closer to everything, and he is shown a hall in the Fortress of Solitude. He looks around, and he sees all the lights come on, and he sees a hologram version of his birth father, or his real true birth father. Now he is shown a hologram, and his birth father shows him another hologram of Krypton, and what it did to us to give you up. Basically them talking to them more and more, and eventually Callum getting shown another area, a hall, and basically this pretty much the Fortress of Solitude is basically kind of the same build up of the same type area of Superman. It's like a mixture of Superman's Fortress of Solitude from the Man of Steel, and a mixture of Superman from the 1990s movie with the whole entire kryptonite that made Superman drunk or whatever. So basically they start to fight. Fight. They start walking around, and Rayla's saying, "So you're an alien?" Basically him looking around and saying, "I'm gonna have all those abilities once," because the robot showed the effects of the yellow sun and what it does to a Kryptonian, and says that you're gonna gain all these superhuman abilities like superhuman strength, speed, agility, not super speed, strength, invulnerability, laser vision, X-ray vision, also other abilities. Now, basically, eventually, Rayla basically tells Callum, so all of this is your family, your true family left for you. Basically, the ship being pretty much ginormous, being basically like half the size of the mountain underneath, because this building was like underneath the area, and the ice is artificial. So the ice transforms into basically water when the climate changes, and the water is it just puts like a fake underneath. It just puts like a fake bottom of the river or the pond to cover up the Fortress of Solitude when it's icy. Basically, the Fortress of Solitude makes artificial ice over it and pretty much clears it back up if something falls through the ice. And basically, Callum takes out his chip that he had in his thing and he puts it in one of the pretty much like a sterile or some sort of computer being shown memories, files, and also the other things about Kryptonian knowledge, aliens, and also the other stuff. Now he gets shown another hall and basically shown type of super or type of pretty much clothing hall that Superman the Man still had. Basically looking around, seeing that it was a Kryptonian suit for him. Multiple Kryptonian suits were lined up, basically being shown as armored suits from Kryptonian days or also other stuff. Now he comes across one suit that makes him, very interested and familiar. Now, the suit that catches Callum's eye the most is this suit. This suit is basically the Superboy suit or the Superman suit of John, or John as in Superman's biological son. Now, basically, this is the suit that catches Callum's eye the most. Now, it was pretty much Callum's artificial dad sees this and basically has the hologram symbol, basically making it compact into a small type of glove area. And this glove turns into like a reddish type of gold glove that Callum could wear, and if Callum pretty much taps it on a button and pretty much the inside of the glove, it can transform the suit around his body, making the suit pretty much very much, portable. Basically, Callum takes the gloved up compacted suit and puts it in his pocket, looking over the rest of the suits, finding one other suit that catches his eye as much as the last one. This suit. It catches his eye the most, and basically Callum is given another type of glove, or kind of a Kryptonian symbol actually, and basically is given the same type of glove technology as the last suit, and basically he has two red gloves now, and either one he claps or presses a button on the inside of it transforms his outfit into the Kryptonian suit. Now, basically, Callum looks at his chest, and basically, the robot sews on a Kryptonian symbol on the front of Callum's vest. And basically, this is a symbol that's sewed on Callum's pretty much chest. And just imagine his gloves are a little bit more of a brighter red, with gold linings around the edges of his fingerless gloves. And basically, Callum looks on his outfit saying this is amazing. Basically, his boots being turned a bright red, just like his pretty much gloves as well. Now, basically, Callum is told more about Kryptonian laws and stuff like that, and eventually knows everything that Superman knows on his first, pretty much knowing as everything Superman knows from, the Man of Steel, the first movie. Basically, Callum walks off, and basically they are pretty much, sent away from the Fortress of Solitude, and Callum is given back the chip, basically saying that the chip is the key to this area. Now, Callum recognizes and pretty much puts this area into his memory bank, trying to remember, or trying to, permanently remember where this area is, and also being shown that the pretty much chip is programmed to glow brighter as you get towards Kryptonian bases or towards this ship. Basically, Callum grabs his friends and basically jumps to the ice, and Callum at this point doesn't know how to fly yet. Basically, him just being able to jump by a single bound. Basically, after that, Callum, knowing everything about his Kryptonian past, he is given a more of a moral status, and he's more well focused and more achievable as ever. Now Callum sees that the egg is fading away slowly, but eventually pretty much finds that the egg is not dying just yet. Then not knowing that it's not really dying yet. Callum tries to use some of his pretty much abilities on the egg, but seeing that dragon eggs are pretty much covered in some sort of pretty much alloy that's similar to lead that he can't see through or use his extra abilities on, like super hearing and stuff like that. Now basically we get switched on, and that's gonna be the end of episode 6. Now basically guys, I'm gonna be leaving it off here. Part 3 will be mainly about episode 7 and about episodes 7 and 8, and basically guys, I'm gonna be leaving it off here guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys like and subscribe, and as always guys, have a blessed day. The next video I'm gonna be uploading is what if Invincible was in Young Justice part 2. See you guys later, bye, and as always guys, have a blessed day, and always comment on all my videos if you want to. See you guys later, bye, Jesus.